I did say we are big on security today. Today we're going to be discussing aviation security and safety. You know, the last isolated incidences that has escalated has opened up some level of kind of worms, if you will. The Honorable Minister, in his statement, Festus Keyamo, who oversees that ministry, identified some of those things. He mentioned it, including issues around staff training and all of that. But there's a broader issue. Especially the two recent incidents of Kwam 1 and Ms. Comfort has exposed issues around security around our airport, its management when people get aggressive, when people are triggered, why people resort to self-help, systemic management, administrative issue, ability to bite or not to be able to, just to back and not be able to bite. There are a couple of issues, so we can go from personnel management, resorting to self-help, issues of security that border national security. And why this is instructive is because both incidents happened. In fact, the three last major incidents, if we add the one of the comrade senator, happened at the two major gateways into Nigeria, the Murtala Mohammed International Airport and the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja, and this one in Lagos. That is why we're bringing in two persons who explore this conversation beyond what just played out. Let's look at systemic issues and how to solve this so that in the future, because the international community is watching, people are traveling, people are going to keep traveling, and we're happy that planes are not dropping like before, but there are things that are going on that can be resolved if we do the right things. We're being joined in the program virtually by Yekachi Adekoya, is a security consultant, and also Mr. Dr. Okonzua Osawaru, who is a public policy analyst and a social commentator. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on the program. We appreciate.
Thank you for having me. Good morning.
Mr. Adekoya, let me start with you because we're big on security today. I was listening to one of your colleagues on the radio, and he was giving his own analytics of what played out. For him, he said he was alarmed because, in his words, he said it was like he was watching national security unpreparedness, undressing in front of the whole world, that the situation on both ends could have been handled differently. And he gave his own 2 cents on how it could have been handled differently. So if I understood him very well, if just alleged recalcitrant behavior of passengers is not professionally handled, what if it's real, maybe terrorism or things of greater proportion? What will not happen? So I don't know what you make of what played out, and not just those incidents, but what you've seen in this particular incident and what you see as lapses when it comes to security at our airport and by implication, because this is a gateway, so we can add national security.
Yeah, thank you for the question. Well, there is a recurring theme in both incidents. And the major theme is the failure of security just at the foot of the aircraft, or what you call the jetway. In the Ibom Air case, again, when you do security planning, you have to plan redundancy into it. There was some wait time for the airport security team to come and evacuate the unruly passenger. So again, that response time, if it were some other things happening, what would response have looked like? To the point on preparedness, on risk anticipation, aviation security is something that is very seriously taken globally. ICAO has different protocols, annexes, standards for dealing with these issues, you know, and you have what you call participating party or contracting parties. And they have obligations, whether they be the airline operators, the civil aviation authority, or even governments. So response was not there, and it begs the question, if it was some other thing, what would have happened? In the case with ValueJet, again, response was problematic, where the passenger had been onboarded and, you know, removed and the doors of the aircraft shut. What was the person still doing at the foot of the aircraft, you know, to the point where he was blocking an aircraft from taking off? You know, what if he had bombs strapped on him? We could say, yes, we know him. But again, the other breach was that he had he had a bottle that was over 100 ml from what we're seeing. We're not sure if he got that bottle just after screening or if the screening process failed. But if what I know about Nigerian aviation security is anything go by, you will find that you take aviation security seriously a bit in the south. In the north, you know, sometimes things can be very lax. You can walk in sometimes with your shoes not screened in some smaller airports. So clearly there's cause for alarm. There's opportunity for further training. It's not a problem of standards, annexes, protocols, or procedure. It's a cultural problem. It's a general Nigerian problem, you know, and with profound respect to the minister, honorable minister, you can make statements which are right and, you know, politically correct, but, you know, these issues coming to the fore, they reveal the deep states of unseriousness with which we take security generally across the country, you know, and it's a big source for concern because, you know, safety of civil aviation and the annexes and procedures and the protocols developed were baked in blood. You know, it took accidents, incidences, post 9/11, even reviewing the 2014 Montreal Convention that Nigeria is a signatory to. A lot of those, it's about implementing our policies. But in Nigeria, a chairman of an airline has a friend who's coming late. Somebody wants the aircraft to wait because he knows the chairman. Somebody's at the foot of the aircraft calling one big man he thinks he knows, you know, making threats. I mean, standards are standards. So again, I think it's a wake-up call, if you ask me. And yes, it has great implication for national security. It just lays bare the problems that have been there for a long time. So what I will urge the honorable minister to do is to clamp down now more seriously on aviation security. There's opportunity for retraining. Sometimes our baggage scanners are not working. They are not working. And it's not just aviation. You know, somebody has reported that even the locomotives that the NRC has don't have signal. You know, sometimes the NRC doesn't know where their locomotives are because some of the signaling equipment are in containers. They've not been deployed or they are vandalized. So just generally, security is left to chance, you know. So it just unearths the bigger problem. And like you rightly said, if I'm an attacker, would-be attacker, looking at the chaos that has occurred at our airports, and I'm thinking, when I look at response time, response capability, the coordination, the lack of it, as it were, then clearly Nigeria is looking pretty for some black swan events, except things are done. So again, you come back to training and drilling and running drills, simulation drills. You train until the point where response becomes second nature. So clearly there's a big area for improvement in what has played out. But let me just say, to correct an impression, please, cabin crew members are part of the safety and security framework of any civil operation. They are also trained in security. They are also security and safety officers in a matter of speaking. And in the EBOM case, again, it's still a Nigerianness. I think that the ground team and the crew members were a bit too political. The crew members are trained to restrain and even effect arrests. There are equipment on board the aircraft to be able to do that.
Mr. Adekoya, just a moment. My apologies. We'll come back to you in just a moment. But we just had this coming in from the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development. He posted it on X, on his X handle just about 10 minutes ago. The decision to withdraw criminal complaint against Ms. Comfort Emerson and to address related issues. So I'll just breeze through some of the things. The case of Ibom Air and Ms. Comfort Emerson. In the case of the unruly passenger, Ms. Emerson, and Ibom Air Airline, on August the 10th, I have conferred with Ibom Airline to withdraw the complaint against her today. When the police took her statement in the presence of her lawyer, she exhibited great remorse of her conduct. Subsequent to the withdrawal of the complaint by the complainant, the CP of the airport command and the police prosecutor will immediately take remaining steps to facilitate her release from Kirikiri prisons within this week. I have also conferred with the leadership of the airline operators and have appealed to them to lift the lifetime flying ban imposed on her, to which they agreed. The details of the resolution will be made public by the AON subsequently. The Value Jet and Washiu, that's Kwam 1 incident. In the case of Kwam 1, the NCA is to reduce its flight ban to 1 month period. FAN will also work with the music star with a view of engaging him as an ambassador for proper airport security protocol going forward. Having publicly demonstrated pertinence, the NCA is also to withdraw its criminal complaint against Kwam 1 earlier lodged with the police. In the case of the captain, Oluranto Ogoyi, and the co-pilot, First Officer Ivan Oloba ValueJet, the NCAA is to restore their licenses after the same period of 1 month ban after undergoing some mandatory professional reappraisal. The details will be announced, and he gave other details. So I just wanted to bring that up to the audience that as far as the issue of Kwam 1 and Comfort, the minister has intervened to say she should be released. The case should be discontinued so that she can be released within the week. Kwam 1 as well, they would, the referral criminal complaint by the NCAA to the IGP and the AGF, I said it's prevailed on them to withdraw it. And then his flight ban is just 1 month, has not determined yet. So, Bukola, that's
well, that's breaking news coming through. Let's take this now to Mr. Osawaru. I'm sure that, as this has just come through, you may have one or two things, to say about it, particularly the implications of this decision by the federal government for passenger and aviation staff interface subsequently, and of course, the implications for safety and national security. Mr. Osawaru, that's for you. You may want to unmute, Mr. Osawaru, if you can hear me, so that we can hear you. All right. While we wait for Mr. Osawaru to unmute, perhaps we should take this to Mr. Adekoya. Mr. Adekoya, charges against Ms. Comfort Emerson have been dropped, and of course, the federal government is also prevailing on the airline operators to drop the life ban imposed on her, no-fly ban for a lifetime, and that of the treatment of that of Kwam 1 as well. His ban has been reduced to 1 month, and of course the charges, that the Inspector General of Police has been instructed to instigate against him have also been dropped. What are your thoughts on this, for starters, before we progress on the conversation?
Well, the first thought is that elections are coming, so this is a politically convenient resolution to the matter. Two, it doesn't restore confidence in the general feeling of safety, because your rights are read to you when you're about to board a service. An airline operates a service. You contract to abiding to the terms of that service when you board, and your rights are read to you. You hear the crew member says that the NCA states that, you must obey the pilots and the crew members to ensure the safety, and the lack of disruption to civil aviation, and reads out to you the civil aviation rules. So except we are becoming a nation without laws, we can begin to have political interventions. But again, I don't blame the minister. The Kwam 1 case was handled poorly. And in quick succession, we can see that the IBOM case also happened. What the airline operators now did was to try to shield the airline from any public backlash by saying the association is issuing. So it's just window dressing of the issues which I've been talking about again. Now, this is a federal crime, in my own opinion. The Honorable Minister for Aviation is not the Minister of Justice, to the best of my mind, though I respect the fact that he's a learned silk. Again, so if you want to be the part of a treat, where there is no complainer, there is no case. But I must remind Nigerians that the Attorney General of Nigeria can take up this issue because it's a federal issue. It's not an issue to be played with, where you conduct yourself in such a way that is likely to breach peace and public peace, as both parties have done. It's a criminal felony. It's not a civil issue.
All right.
But
Adekoya,
what do I know?
Let's take it to Mr. Osawaru now. I'm told that he's ready for us now. Mr. Osawaru, over to you now.
Well, just like our compatriots have been saying, I think a fair and even implementation of our laws, our existing laws, not just only in aviation across the board, is actually what is called for. Apart from implementing the laws, we have to restore our culture of civility. Courtesy in our public space is not helping us at all. Even talking about the well-being of Nigerians generally. When we haze one another at every turn, we upset ourselves. And we change the atmosphere. Just like people have said so far, even outside this program, aviation safety is a very delicate and precarious matter. So that's not the kind of place to go engage in prohibited conduct. We have to learn how to be civil, learn how to be polite, how to be cautious. Some of the things we are missing out in our evolving culture. We have to pull back. Minister of Aviation Aerospace has done very well. What he has done so far is to even skills, to allow common sense to prevail. Maybe these three offenders that are known to the public may have to enjoy some kind of, I wouldn't say pardon or clemency. Maybe you have to let off the hook for the time being, while all of us who are not yet involved should take notice that behavior would not be tolerated at the airport or in general Nigerian space. We have to remember, for those of us who are old enough, that these are some of the things the war against indiscipline was meant to correct in the 80s when the Buhari, the Agbon government came in. I'm not by any way saying it refers to military measures, but we have to respect ourselves as citizens and conduct ourselves properly. Whether you are at the airport, hospital, whatever location you are, so long as in public space, you are not in your own living room, there is some kind of etiquette that governs the space. I think that is actually what we have to relearn, right from our schools and all that. We have to remind ourselves that is actually what it means to be civilized and live a polity successfully and harmoniously. So I think the measures that are being taken, the approach taken is commendable. Let us see what will come out of it. If investigations are already going on, let's see what the outcome investigation, and we'll take things off from there. But we owe it to one another to be polite to one another, to obey reasonable instructions, especially by competent authorities. So I believe we should go on the way we are doing that. Be attentive and then implement the measures already in place for the service and comfort of all Nigerians.
All right, let me bring it to you, Mr. Adekoya. So help us on layer this compartment. So on one hand, you've spoken about the security, which is quite important, and I see the minister is saying there's going to be retraining of the operators in that space to how to handle errands, perhaps recalcitrant passengers. On the other hand, we're talking about systemic issues here where issues around complaint. If people are sure that if they complain, they will get justice or fairness, perhaps they may not be recalcitrant, they will follow the channel. So I want you to address that as well. I also want you to address this issue of inability to prosecute, because yesterday we did ask the fan spokesperson to be clear on what the law says. Now, the minister is saying, let me read the final comments. He called this his final comments. These above decisions were taken by the government and the airline operators purely, in capital letters, compassionate grounds, as government would never pander to base sentiments, politically motivated views, or warp legal opinions when clear encroachment of our laws are involved. We're sending a clear message that we take safety and security in the aviation sector very seriously, and we have decided to draw a line after these clemencies. Do you believe him? Because some people will say, if Kwan was not involved, this wouldn't have been an issue. For instance, he was facing, by the aviation rule itself, I think Section 83 and Section 56, depending on which you look at, the man was heading for a life sentence if he was found guilty of hijacking and interference, because that's the way the law, it may not have been its intention, but that's the way the law looks at his action. And then this girl would have been in jail for maybe God knows how long. So I think it's already preempting the interpretation. So what do you make of it?
I don't think anything of it other than what I've said initially. It's a political statement. whether it is correct or not, I did say that, the minister, the airline, the IBOM, they were clear. Let me be very clear. The crew member did her job as her job. She should be commended, and we forget that crew members, crew safety is also very important. I don't know what the Association of Airline staff members will be doing, because where is the protection for crew members and their own safety? I can't find this in all this. They were assaulted, liquid was poured on people, and we can conveniently say it's clemency. No, that's fine. It's not a problem if we say we draw the line. But if tomorrow, for example, I get into a fracas with a crew member, I would also expect the clemency. Otherwise, I'm also going to claim some political bias. To the point, the Kwamwan case was mishandled. And that's why you find that, in policy, you can't create an either-or scenario. In justice, Lady Justice has a blindfold, a scale, and a sword. Justice has to be swift. It has to be measured. It has to be fair. It has to be balanced. So where is the justice here? To other flying public who obey, crew instructions, who abide by the NCA flight regulations, where's the justice, for other people? So it's a cultural problem. And like I said, it's our Nigerianness that is coming to the fore. It doesn't in any way give confidence. I think that the minister has made the matters worse in terms of reputational damage to the civil space, just because of one mismanagement on the part of what they should have just done is ban Kwamwan for life, subject him to the same rule, and let him have his day in the courts. That will have been we can't say he doesn't have money to have representation. That's not the problem there, So for me, I'm very disappointed. I must state my disappointment. From an enforcement perspective, when you create laws, you must enforce them, implement them, and that creates a self-reinforcing culture. We have a cultural problem that is persisting. The airport police, there's what you call the Tango Charlie. I mean, there are things we must not begin to talk about outside here. There are procedures on how to address unruly people. The CP police has some questions to answer. The CSP or whoever is in charge of that particular airport, has some questions to answer. When the call was made, to FAN or to NCA, whoever, what was the response capability that the police had on ground to swiftly remove the passenger at the foot of the aircraft? In the instance, the passenger, it wasn't the ground crew that should be deporting you have police for that. So clearly the police failed, security failed. So if we are window dressing this to say, okay, we draw the line, that's fine, but it's a failure again on the part of reputational risk management and, failing forward. We are failing to fail forward. Maybe the National Security Advisor had advised that, NSAS, we have an issue with NSAS, sentiments are rising, so maybe just to douse. If they say, I can understand that from a national security perspective, but again, we must be a nation of laws. What we should have done for the future is subject Kwamwan to the same rule that you subjected the lady to, rather than, making a mockery of even the guidelines that were signatory to internationally. That's my opinion on this, please.
Well, I've seen a video where in the United States, a California-bound Delta Airlines plane, a particular passenger refused to show any form of identification or even a boarding pass. And the passenger, a female also, circumstantially was dragged off the plane. And some Nigerians are quoting this as perhaps, an international practice because of the complaints made about the treatment of Ms. Comfort Emerson aboard an IBOM airplane bound for Lagos. I'm wondering, whether it's an endorsement of that kind of treatment for anyone, not just this particular passenger. If it's done internationally, should it also be applied to Nigeria? Just because we embrace what is done in other climes that are developed. As to Nigeria, this conversation is, important about, public interface between those who are providing a service and those who are receiving the service. Just before we go to return to the security implications of this, Dr. Sawara, I'd like you to respond to that.
Yes, our compatriots, which you have said, Nigeria is manifesting itself. I think we have to go back to the basics. What is going on in the aviation sector now is probably kind of like the road. You know, nearly every sector is affected. Just like I had the privilege to say a while ago, we have lost the core of courtesy, civility, politeness, and so on. But to talk to address, I think the minister has done well, because this is one minister. For what is going on in the airport, or these three incidents you're talking about, to have gained the attention of the minister, it means the minister is alert. And the minister, of course, is expected to be in that office, even as the senior advocate of Nigeria. Most of these problems cannot be solved overnight. We need a detailed study, just like he has said, Mr. Adekoya has said. The police at the airport, the DSS at the airport, and so on should have actually responded to this. That's actually what they are there for. The law is already there. It's just the implementation, you know, and how it's going to be done evenly. So the minister has done well to look at a matter that is not supposed to be his daily fare. And talking about general security, I don't think that needs to be rehashed too often or too loudly. It's very delicate, you know, to be airborne or the operations of aviation generally are very delicate. So we don't expect disruptive behavior of any kind in the airport, not in any public space, actually. So the issues are being addressed now. The minister has said, okay, let us sort of wipe the slate and start afresh while investigations are going on. Well, the issue of Quam 1, or Quam 2, Quam 3, on and on, they just brought the issue to public notice, all the things that have been going on in our airspace, in the airports, and so on. The complaints procedure, everything is quite a system. So let the engineers and other experts wade into it and study every segment of it and see how we can improve.
Yes, just before I let you go, just a straight question, because we're receiving comments already. Some are saying that, yeah, some people are saying commending, just like commending. Some are saying that this is going to set a bad precedent, that this is purely because of the person involved. What do you make of that? In 30 seconds.
Once in a while, that could happen in any sector. Yes, it would have been better if Mr. Quam, or Quam, Sir Quam, if he had set a very good example, yes, that would have been salutary. But we have skipped that very step. So we'll move on. Let everybody be aware now. Maybe the National Orientation Agency can also be involved in this if they are not already overloaded. There are so many issues in the civic space that we have to deal with. But we have to return to the culture that once prevailed in Nigeria. Because most of these things, the disruptive behavior we are having now, repeated behavior, how is it provoked? And when it's afoot, how is it handled? Those are the basic questions, really, you know, because we need to ensure the safety and security of
we're totally out of time,
passengers and...
Yeah, my apologies. Mr. Adekoya, just 10 seconds if you can, or 15 seconds, your last thoughts.
No, I think we need to uphold the dignity of human labor and respect all crew members who keep us safe while we fly. The issue of safety and security while airborne is very serious. And I just urge Nigerians to please consider the flight operators as human beings and know that they are working all for our own interests. I'd also urge the airline themselves. I run a security company and I have guards across this country. If you slap my guard, I prosecute you as a company. It doesn't matter the contract that I get from you. We must stand by our employees who are doing the job we pay them to do. That would be my final thoughts on this, please.
Okay, gentlemen, thank you so much. Onyeka Adekoya, security consultant, Okonzua Osawaro, that's a doctor, public policy analyst, and social commentator. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
No, my pleasure.
Thank you.
All right, we will take a break. So just an update from the Minister of Aviation and Aerospace Development, Mr. Festus Keyamo, SAN. We just got a release from him to the effect that there's been a decision to withdraw criminal complaint against Ms. Comfort Emerson, the incident with the Bomber. Same holds for Kwam 1. There was a criminal reference directed and petitioned to the IGP and AGF. I understand for that as well. The NCA is also to withdraw the criminal complaint against Kwam 1 after it lodged with the police. He said, the minister said he had a conversation with all the stakeholders involved and that this is done on compassionate grounds. He's saying that government will not pander to base sentiment, politically motivated views, or warp legal opinions when clear encroachment of Nigerian laws are involved. So you can say, some people are saying it's purely political, others are saying it's compassionate. Whatever you make of it, the decision has been made. Let's see how it plays out. The girl should be out of the Kirikiri within the week, we understand, as far as, and Kwam is to be an ambassador for airport protocol security and all of that. So that's where we are on this matter. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll switch gears from the issues around the aviation sector. We're talking about automobile industry, CNG, and everything in between. Join us again.